with us for StL TV Live. His soon-to-be-released book includes a unique collection of in-depth interviews with various boxing legends. I'm excited to have author Doveed Linder here with me today. And for those in the boxing world, they'd want to be in your shoes, I know, because of the people that you've gotten to meet. It's so exciting.
Absolutely. And that was the whole purpose of writing the book in the first place, was getting a chance to meet and talk to the people. I never had any intentions of writing the book. It was just reaching out, talking to them, and then the process kind of snowballed
and hearing their
into
stories.
a book.
And if you hear these stories, you naturally want to write them down and share them with others who don't have the same opportunity. So let's go back. I want to know more about why you're so interested in boxing.
Well, I'm just a movie guy who watched too many Rocky movies and took it very seriously as a kid. I grew up in the suburbs, never been into a boxing gym, didn't know anything about boxing other than what I saw in the movies. But I just happened to take it very seriously. And back then, watching Sylvester Stallone make such a glamorous thing out of it, I wanted to do it. And that's just something that never left me my whole life.
So you did it, right? You
yes,
became
I did.
a boxer.
Yeah, amateur boxing. That's with the headgear, with the tank top. I didn't do it until I was in my late 20s. Most people do it when they're a kid and they get it out of their system, or they go on and do other things. But I did do it 3 times.
Oh, that's neat. 3 times, but you trained and you're continuing to train, and now you coach others in boxing techniques.
I train fighters. I teach it just to people who want to do it as a way to get in shape, and I'm part of the game still. You know, I'll still work with some people who do it competitively, but it's with people who I am friends with and have gotten to know.
And boxing it's kind of a fitness trend. It has been for the past few years. I have a lot of friends that do it, you know, women like me in the boxing, maybe not the boxing ring, but out there doing their thing, right?
Well, it's one of the best ways to get in shape. I almost said you never see a boxer who's not in shape, but that's not necessarily true, but most boxers are in great shape.
You gotta start somewhere, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's go back to the book. So you wanted to meet and talk to some of these famous boxers that you had admired over the years. So who was the first one? How to get started?
The first person I spoke with for this book was a commentator by the name of Larry Merchant. I write for a website called boxingtalk.com, and as I was interviewing people in the fight game, I began to develop kind of this vision for an in-depth interview with him, so I pursued it. I reached out to the people who I know in the boxing world. Nobody had a direct line to him, but one morning I was at the gym wearing a boxing-related t-shirt. Another guy walked past me who was wearing a boxing t-shirt. We started talking. He turned out to be Larry Merchant's son-in-law, and he set up the interview over lunch. So that was the first interview that I gave. No intention of writing a book at that particular moment, but that's how everything got started. And then I did another, and I did another, and it just took off from there.
And there were all these moments that happened for you, these great moments of meeting people.
Yes, there's 17 interviews in the book, and I would say there's about 10 fantastic stories like that, which led to the interview that ultimately took place, where I would either just bump into the person, or their contact information would somehow fall in my lap without making a direct request for, or something like that. That was a trend that happened throughout the process of writing this book.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it was a book that was meant to be, obviously. And who do you consider the audience for this book?
Boxing fans, obviously. People who want to draw inspiration from other people. It's a story that can reach people outside of boxing, because we're talking about people who have overcome a lot of odds and obstacles in their life. So if anybody is faced with something in their life that they want to overcome, they can draw inspiration from the people, because I happen to believe that boxers are some of the most courageous human beings on the planet. And they are faced with their deepest and darkest fears every time they get into the ring. And some of the people who are interviewed for this book talk about that. And when you hear what they went through, how humbling it is to do what they do, and the resources that they drew from within themselves to go on and be who they have become, anyone can draw inspiration from that and apply it to whatever they're faced with in their life.
Yeah, That sounds great, and I totally agree that people who have been through a lot, it doesn't matter if you even have ever boxed before, but we can learn from their experiences. The book will be out later this year, and people can get a hold of you through your email address, doveed@hotmail.com.
Correct.
Okay, Doveed, D-O-V-E-E-D.
Correct.
Interesting and beautiful name.
Thank you very much.
So we want people to reach out if they want to know more about the book, which will be out in 2 volumes later this year. So not only do you have a book, but you've got a film coming out about some famous St. Louis boxers, and we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. We'll be back more with Doveed Linder. Stay with us.